Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest insult back in the day is when you told somebody they acted like a pussy or fought like a pussy on the schoolyard. But this guy, I don't think you want to call him a pussy to his face, even though his last name was Pussy. This is one of the roughest, toughest customers ever to win a Stanley Cup with the Montreal Canadiens. Although his wrestling and boxing career wasn't as prestigious as his hockey career, he drew a lot of interest. According to Midgets, Mad Dogs, and Screwjobs, the great wrestling book about Quebec grappling, he had more than 100 fights in his minor and major league career. Now, Joseph Jean-Baptiste Pussy, known as Jean, born in Montreal October 15, 1910, was a Canadian pro hockey boxer, a hockey player and wrestler, and also played a dozen more sports. Pussy played parts of 5 seasons in the NHL with the Canadiens, the Rangers, and the Bruins between 30 and 36. He won the Stanley Cup in 31 with the Canadiens, playing 3 out of 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. Pussy's name was left off the cup even though he officially qualified. Pussy scored his only NHL goal for the Bruins and occurred on November 24th, 34 in Boston's 4-1 victory over the St. Louis Eagles. Born in Montreal, he grew up in Chambly, Quebec. He played for 21 different teams in various minor leagues around North America, on defense mostly, and changed teams 28 times. He was known for his antics on and off the ice. We'll talk about that in a second. And his pro career in hockey lasted from 29 to 43. Started off with the Montreal Rousseau of the CAHS in 28, then the Montreal National of the MCHL in 29. He played with the Verdun CPR in 1930, as well as the Montreal Northern Electric in the MMRHL and the MTRHL. 1930, he also played with the London Panthers of the IHL, where he scored his first goal with 11 contests. 31 with the Galt Terriers of the OPHL, then 6 games with the Habs, 3 games in the postseason, which led to the Stanley Cup. He also played that year with the Detroit Olympics of the IHL. 32, he played with the Habs for 1 game, and the Philadelphia Arrows of the Can-Am League, and the Trois-Rivières Renards of the ECHA. In 33, he played with the Quebec Castors of the Can-Am League and the Regina Capitals and Vancouver Maroons of the WCHL, where he had a big 30 goals and 52 points. 34 with the Rangers, had 19 games and 2 assists. He also played that year with the London Tecumsehs of IHL with 6 goals. 35, 1 goal with the Bruins, his first ever in 8 games. Also played with the Boston Tigers of the Can-Am League, 27 points in 34 games. In 36, back with the Habs, 31 games with 2 assists. He also played with the Boston Cubs that year of the Can-Am League with 9 points in that campaign. So, continued on, ladies and gentlemen. Providence Reds in 37, 13 points in 29 games. 38, Cleveland Barons of the IAHL, 6 points in 39 games, 1 goal in the postseason. 39, St. Louis Flyers of the AHA, who scored 18 goals. 1940, Vancouver Lions of the PCHL. 1941, the Seattle Olympics of the PCHL. 42, back with the Flyers, 9 goals in 35 games. 44, Montreal Locomotive and Montreal Army of the MCHL. And 45, he played with the Montreal NDG Monarchs. And 47, his last minor pro career, the Verdun Eagles of the QPHL, where he had 7 points in 6 games. NHL totals: 65 games, 5 points, 28 minutes and penalties, and 7 postseason games. Now, the figures are not completely accurate, but for what the researchers of the book said about his tenure in minor hockey, he was known for fighting, and he had about 100 fights during his career. Now, he was a hometown hero every place he played, mostly because he was dedicated to the sport he loved. Now, there was big rumors that there was a lot of money changing hands to make him part of the teams he had skated with. He was a folk hero in New York, where even poems were written about him. But his time in wrestling wasn't as prestigious. He had wrestled with the Tunnies as part of the big wide world, what was considered the Montreal and Toronto territories. Now, in an article on SlamWrestling.net, according to Pussy won a Stanley Cup with the Habs in 31, well, was never more than a journeyman wrestler or curtain jerker in Montreal and Toronto. But his biggest accomplishment in the ring was getting a cauliflower ear. Well, that was normal at the time. Still, there's no doubting there was a character who can probably stand his own in the same breath with Canadian, some of the young Canadian prospects at the time, including eccentrics like Mad Dog Vachon and Dave Wildman McKigney. In his obituary in April 56, the CP News Service said as much. The colorful young giant, who was 6 feet tall and weighed about 200 pounds, was generally conceded to make up in tempestuousness and eccentricities what he lacked in athletic finesse and ability.